Jacki, we're so honored to have you here. I mean, you are really an expert on energy economics. Everybody I talk to, your program is broadcast in the Permian Basin, but then people follow you, especially about your energy views and economic views and political views. And something that ties all three of those together at the intersection is the petrodollar. Can you share what the petrodollar is, how it came to be, and what it looks like now?
So when you hear petrodollar, all it means is oil that's paid for in dollars. An agreement, essentially, formally or informally, that we had with the Saudis. People get very angry if you misrepresent how it came into being. But basically, Kissinger was kind of our man around the world at the time, and he thought it wise to work with the Saudis because they had all the oil reserves, or the top reserves at the time.
Right, and we just gone through it.
Actually, I'll back that up. Venezuela has the best reserves, but there's a reason why you deal with Saudi. They're basically the leader of OPEC.
Yeah.
So to put it basically, they've got the oil, we've got the military. We need oil to be a superpower. They need a military to protect them from this very hostile neighborhood they're in. So it was just obvious. It was an obvious marriage between the countries.
And it came about in 1974, roughly.
Yes.
Just after the Arab oil embargo.
Yeah.
Just after Nixon had abandoned gold, supporting the dollar.
Correct.
So
this is kind of a way that maybe Kissinger thought we would be loosely tethered to oil, like an oil-backed currency, so to speak, some people think. But you know, it's just a very obvious relationship. But it only works for as long as the dollar is worth something, you know, we're credit worthy as a country, and our military is actually capable of defending them and being a deterrent. But when a bigger kid comes along in the block and says, I can protect you, maybe even better, that could be China in the future, now you have a problem. You can see all the ways that this agreement, which made so much sense, can start to fray and come unraveled. And so now, here we are in 2024,
50 years later.
50 years later, and that bill might have come due where, like, okay, now either you can, you know, pick up your end of the bargain, be more responsible, stop printing trillion-dollar spending bills that makes the dollar less attractive, or, you know, we're out of here. We can always go somewhere else.
I think they're also concerned with the fact that we just took Russia's money. Right? Russia, you don't do what we want, we're going to punish you. You didn't play nicely in the sandbox, so we're going to take your money away from you, and it's not yours anymore, because Russia would hold their reserves in dollars. Saudis have held their reserves in dollars, which is hugely beneficial to us because it lowers interest rates, it helps us finance this ever-growing debt. But what if we told Saudi Arabia, hey, you know, King, we want you to have an LGBTQ policy and enforce it in Riyadh?
And that could happen at any second because...
We could put the rainbow flag up, or we will take your money away from you.
And imagine, okay, not only are we doing that with other countries left and right who don't want an agenda, our social agenda, brought to their shores or on their
even
land.
if the king wanted it, if he tried to enforce it, he would lose his head.
Yeah. So that's the other thing. And you know what it is to behave that way is actually a breakdown of the rule of law and enforcement of contracts. We're not dealing in a way that they expect. They don't think it's fair. Other people won't trust us anymore because you're breaking the contract.
Right.
You know, we're killing the expectations upon which the agreements were formed, and so they see that. They see how we're treating our allies, and it just seems like you don't know what America you're going to get. Every 4 years, we could have a different president. We could have a different Senate. Every 2 years, a third of them are up. So how do you know who you're dealing with? We
used to. When you were working in Congress, it used to be politics stopped at the water's edge, and we were united on foreign policy. That's not true any longer.
No. I mean, I remember right after 9/11, the country was basically united. I remember something like 87% of New Yorkers in a poll said we should find the people who did this, hunt them down and kill them. Those were the words. We hunt them down and we kill them. It's amazing how having a common enemy can submit a people. But now look at how divided we are and how polarized it is.
We're even divided over whether or not Israel has a right to hunt down and kill the people that killed them on October 7th.
Sure. Even that anymore, the most basic, I mean, at some point, when do you cease to be a people when you cannot agree on things like due process and the rule of law? This is the stuff that we're built upon for 250 years almost.
Including open borders on the rule of law. Do we
Even
have
that.
a law on immigration or not?
We have a volume of federal law on immigration that no one cares to enforce.